Apparently, BlueSky is popping off. And when I'm talking about BlueSky, a lot of you don't even know what it is. It's the liberal Twitter alternative. Because once Trump got back in office, they tried to do their own thing. So a lot of like lefties went over there, and that's where they have their arguments and debates and shit posting now. Well, something happened with the actual co-creator of Dragon Age, and he's just been popping off on everybody. So let's go straight into it because this article actually has something that I think is worth talking about, and I'm going to debate. Well, I'm not going to debate because they're not here to represent themselves, but I'm going to debate with this article. So what we have to talk about is that the creator himself is slamming BioWare over perceived Mass Effect favoritism in BlueSky Firestorm. Sibling rivalry. We know that we're both EA and BioWare things. So, but this is David Gaider, and I have done a video regarding him before, way back when the Veil Guard, the Fail Guard, I'm not going to say that one, whenever that one's going to come out. And he had some choice words. He's clearly not happy. Now, let's be reminded, or maybe I should just tell you, if you never knew in the first place, not only did he create Dragon Age and worked in the same studio as they were developing Mass Effect and Dragon Age basically side by side, but he had some choice words on everything that had happened. And he left himself in 2016. So keep that date in mind, keep that year in mind whenever we go into some of the things that he starts talking about from the man himself. While I was at BioWare, EA always preferred Mass Effect. Why did he put asterisk over always? That's a little bit strange. Straight up, their marketing team liked it more. It was modern, it had action. They never quite knew what to do with Dragon Age, and whenever Dragon Age outperformed Mass Effect got the excuses for it. If you ask me, it was always just shy of the axe since Dragon Age Origins. Now, most fans will say that Dragon Age Origins is by far their favorite of the series, but it doesn't even, I don't think that's even necessarily a point to make because the only Dragon Age games, Dragon Age Origins, Dragon Age Origins The Awakening, Dragon Age 2, and The Inquisition are the only places that Dragon Age belongs, at least in the BioWare video games. Now, there has been other stuff. Oh, that TV show is god awful. Anyway, I'm getting off on a tangent. But that is clearly one of the best ones. And it was kind of like, it was a BioWare mainstay at that point because I remember playing it when it first came out. And it reminded me so much of Knights of the Old Republic, like Star Wars, KOTOR and KOTOR 2. It reminded me so much of that play style that I was just like, I'm bought in hook, line, and sinker. There's so much lore. You could tell they wrote freaking stories for this, and they have an entire universe back there that has been pre-planned out. But in his post, Gaider noted that up until he left in 2016, BioWare essentially operated as two distinct divisions, and nary the twain should ever meet. For a long time, and these are his words now, for a long time, it was basically two teams under one roof, DA and ME. And guess what happened to both franchises? EA, since we're going to just be using acronyms, DA and MA got BF'd by EA. Run differently, very different cultures, may as well have been two separate studios, and they didn't get along. Well, I don't know why you wouldn't get along with them. You're making two completely different franchises. You have your own workspaces, you have your own teams, unless people were pilfering from the side, or maybe there was some interdepartmental coitus. Although apparently EA was aware of this issue, yeah, EA doesn't give a fuck. Their attempts to resolve it were minimal at best. Evidently, this was driven home to David Gaider whenever, and if it's pronounced Gaider, I apologize. I'm going to say it Gaider the whole time. When he joined the Mass Effect team to work on Anthem, because I guess they could like interdepartmental coitus. It's like, oh yeah, you put this stuff out over there. We hate what you're doing, but this is doing well at the time. Anthem is one of those things. Actually, Andromeda was the one that came out first that completely destroyed Mass Effect. I could even go back further to the ending of Mass Effect 3. But anyway, Anthem was a complete bomb, but they asked him to come back for it. Why did he say yes and now has an extra crime? These are some of the questions where it's like, all right, get your rant out. I can agree with part of it, but I don't have to agree with all of it. And according to him, he was tasked with reshaping Anthem's narrative from hard sci-fi to fantasy, but was constantly set upon by the Mass Effect team because they don't know how to write, and they were a bunch of blue hairs. I kept getting feedback about I was too Dragon Age. Now everything I wrote or planned was too Dragon Age. What does that even mean, though? Too Dragon Age, too based in lore, too based in history, too based in a planet that has like it has its own era that it's living in. Everything is written off of that. That's what draws people in. What drew people into Mass Effect was something completely different than what drew them into Dragon Age. But a lot of people nowadays, and I guess it is going back way further than, when the woke era started in 2017, way back before 2016. This is one of those things where, like, how do I put this? People just seemed to be creatively kept inside a box. Now, how much of that had to do with executives, people telling them what to do? Apparently, according to David Gaider, didn't have much to do with it at all. They were looking at numbers because they were coming off of Dragon Age Inquisition winning Game of the Year, and they were trying to put out another Mass Effect game. So I think that's really where it comes from. Of course, there's going to be infighting because they're going to want to promote from within. That's who they think. They think they should get a promotion when really they're just dragging this other guy over here and like paying him all this money. It's like, oh yeah, I'm gonna retool your game that they worked really hard on, supposedly. It doesn't show. Worse still, though, he says that EA was clearly playing favorites because Mass Effect was the pride and joy of the company, while Dragon Age was treated like the weird kid who smelled funny and stared at you just a bit too long during conversation. Well, if he was a close talker, I could understand, and you can catch some elbows. But Dragon Age wasn't like that whatsoever. It was basic. Dragon Age was basically successful from the start. So I really don't know. I mean, this must be infighting from within the company because the customers did not see this until we got the new renditions. And the reason why we're talking about these new renditions right now is because Mass Effect 5 has been announced, it has been worked on, and it's going to have a release date very, very soon. I don't know why he has this stick up his butt about Mass Effect. It's probably personal. And now, where I said I'm going to have a little small debate with the person who wrote this article, this is an opinion part of this article from the writer. This is where I have to pause and scratch my head, however, because despite Gator's claims, it's hard fact that Dragon Age Inquisition sold over 10 million copies. Yes, it did. One game of the year. Was this in spite of rather than due to EA's marketing efforts? It seems a bit hard to believe. And what this person is referencing is basically the entire blue sky firestorm. What isn't far-fetched, though, according to this person, is Gator's belief this favoritism influenced the Veilguard's development. Now, I disagree with this. Now, we do know that they were jumping between departments whenever they were going to, like, okay, this is going to be the last Dragon Ages. We're gonna completely scrap all of this because of all the bad and negative press that it's getting. And this was before it even released. They were already scrapping it. It's like, this will be the last Dragon Age. We're gonna pour everything, every resource we have into Mass Effect 5. So maybe that's where he's actually coming from whenever it comes to this like kind of take. Is it because, oh, because this was something that was his baby doll. This was his little child that he built and wrote and cultivated, and it was really good. And then whenever he left, it all went to absolute dog shit. And now they're trying to blame. Now they're trying to basically hype up Mass Effect by degrading Dragon Age, and I think that's why they were doing that like that, and why he said that it was basically what they it was always one step away from the axe or whatever he said, the guillotine or something like that, even from Dragon Age Origins. Yet they keep making successful games. So I don't really see the real big problem. but he knows a lot more that we don't know, and I would love to have him on and like have a conversation with her, because I because Gaider also describes the CEO Andrew Wilson is even deeper in denial over why Veilgarn bombed. I think, but here's the topic right here. All right, he's saying that they intentionally bombed Veilguard, but then in another sentence out the other side of his mouth, he's saying that they're in denial on why Veilguard bombed. Well, it can't be you were trying to bomb it and I don't know why it bombed. Apparently, attributing the game's pathetic run to a lack of live service features. Dragon Age has never had a very good live service feature, but you do have to freaking log in your dadgum EA account in order to play it ever since the Xbox One. And that always pissed me off too. But anyway, I think he's kind of talking out of both sides of his mouth. So I'm just going to take this as a rant. And I can give him some leeway with that. Now, he does end up saying that he was grateful for the time that he was there. Well, obviously, he got to be creative. He got to put out some great stuff. And then, as with most jobs, as with most people, let's be honest, as with most people, you have your fun. People get butt hurt. People try to make mogul moves, and, you have to part ways. I mean, think about how many best friends you have and how long have you known them. There are very few that you've known for a long time. That's just human nature. That's the way the life goes. You end up losing touch. There's all kinds of other stuff that goes on with that, but especially in business, and business was making that much money. Yes, of course, the turnover is a thing that every business plans for, accounts for, and sometimes it's just ridiculously exorbitant. But if you guys have anything to say about this, are you excited for Mass Effect 5? I know I'm not. I'm not even going to play it. I didn't play the Veilguard because of all that tranny shit. But this is Malty from Mouth of Malty. Y'all have a great day. We'll see you later. Bye bye.